Paul's reconnecting, quick question for everybody: has everybody downloaded it? Because I just want to see where we want to start from, or do you want me to go to where to download it and what's available? And obviously, when I say it's Pi Toolbox.
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Loud and clear now, Paul.
Oh, of course. I gave you a great intro, Tom, I promise, but evidently no one heard it. Um, yeah, I will do a quick intro. Let's make it official. But yeah, firstly, I just want to thank Cosworth for becoming title partner of the Britcard 24 Hours of Silverstone this year. It's really great to have such a well-known, reputable brand involved. And obviously, they've got their new Cosworth Pi Toolbox Plus software out and wanted to offer everybody the chance to learn a bit more about it, and also heading into the weekend, the best way to utilize it for the endurance race this weekend. So we have, yeah, Tom and Rob from Cosworth who will run through all the ins and outs of the software, what's different and what's additional for the Plus over the light version. But yes, without any further ado, Tom, I'll hand over to you.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Hi, everyone. So yeah, I'm Tom Brown. I'm head of product and solution here at Cosworth Electronics, and then I've got Rob with me as well. Can do a quick intro, Rob?
Hi, yeah, evening everybody. So I work alongside Tom. I'm a product manager here at Cosworth, working on our motorsport products. So that includes software and hardware. But I've been working on Pi Toolbox for the last couple of years to bring the new functionality with the iRacing integration. So yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not a sim racer myself. So I can probably learn something from this call myself as well, talking to you guys. But yeah, we'll be happy to run through the software and show you, yeah, how it's going to be able to help you like it does our real world motorsport engineers and drivers as well.
Cool. Thanks, Rob. So I'm going to share my screen. I'll share my entire screen. Okay, so you should be now seeing our homepage. I'm going to quickly just run through where it is and how to download it. I'm going to assume that most of the guys in here, if you've joined this, you've probably already got it and start diving into the software a little bit more. So I'll just skim through this. So yeah, we have a portal where you can obviously register and then you sign in. Um, this is this obviously we focus initially on sim, but as you can now see, if you've watched the evolution of this since our announcement with iRacing since August, it's moved into professional motorsport as well, because this will be where you come and download. If you're a Porsche engineer, if you're an IndyCar engineer, it's again exactly the same place, exactly the same process and method that you come and get the software. Um, so we've got Pi Toolbox and the iRacing telemetry converter. This list will get longer over 2026. We jump into 20 into Toolbox directly. So there's effectively four layers of Toolbox. We've still got our free version, which we launched in August. It's effectively license free in the back end. So you download it, you're able to get using it straight away. Um, as you can see from this long list, we actually unlock quite a lot of the features that are available, including some of the more technical things you can do in the back end, which we'll run through in a bit. Where it is slightly more restrictive, if you like, is the number of tasks you're allowed, outings, worksheets, and displays. Um, you jump up to Plus. Plus is, yeah, as I guess, a data user and a sim person myself, I can see this is where I would slot in perfectly. We have a lot more worksheets, a lot more displays, the ability to open Ghost Lap files as well, so B Lap and O Lap files. So if you're on the likes of Garage 61 or someone's shared a Ghost Lap file attached to a YouTube video, etc., you can now open them directly in Toolbox as well. The data is limited because obviously it's just a Ghost Lap, so it's mainly the data that iRacing needs to produce that Ghost Lap in the sim. So it misses some of the more detailed channels, but in terms of driver input, everything's there. So it's really good to go grab something and then use that to help if you're learning a new track or trying to understand where you're losing time to a top driver. It's worth just quickly pointing out that the driver dash display doesn't work for iRacing. This is something that's for our real motorsport products. We would like to be able to do it with iRacing, but they don't give that data in the IBT file. So unfortunately, at the minute, it's not available. So yeah, you download and then you have the option to subscribe up to a plus. Obviously, one of the key things we'll touch on is the ability to do the real time. So this is pretty cool. It's proper telemetry as opposed to just data. So yeah, it is fully remote. You need to download the iRacing telemetry converter tool. The Sim PC then runs this little application. You simply press start and it will start spitting the data out. It needs a plus license on the Sim PC to be able to push the data out, and then you need a plus license to receive the data in as well within Toolbox. I think that's probably enough of how to get it, assuming most people have got it already. So if I jump straight into Toolbox itself, and do feel free if you have any questions as we're going through this. More questions the better, really. So obviously, once you've downloaded Toolbox, you'll see this. If you subscribed, you'll have an email with a key that you add to the licensing configuration tool, just so we can quickly see what it looks like. This is temporary as well. In a couple of weeks' time, you'll actually log into Toolbox and your key will automatically go in. But for the time being, it's a simple, you get emailed a key, you press add, and you simply paste the key in, has add, and you then got your key ready to go. What we've done for the free and the plus version is create two workbooks. These vary in detail. Obviously, light is fairly lightweight and has a look at that a level of data that corresponds with the levels that a light gives you. Plus workbook, which is probably what we'll jump into now, has a lot more going on, and we will be making some changes to that through this week and next week. So what I would recommend is if you've got Toolbox installed, up in the top right hand corner, when there is a new version, it will say update available. If you click on that, you will obviously re-download and install Toolbox, and you'll also get the latest and greatest templates that we've released within the installer as well. So this is the plus workbook, which we'll focus on. The key thing with Toolbox is it's not designed in that you sort of file open like you do with like i2 or other pieces of data analysis software. We have a more detailed concept, which was actually derived from Formula One engineers. So the Toolbox was developed initially, began development back in 2002, 2003, and obviously it's been developed all the way through to where we are today. So we have this concept of tasks. The Plus workbook has two tasks, which are color coded red and purple, and these are called displays. And these displays, as you can see, correspond to the task that you selected. You can simply change which tasks they look at, and we've changed the behavior of these two as well. So we have iRacing lap, which automatically loads fastest, and you can select. You can select once it's loaded, but by default, this will load all of the laps. And this is because the nature of some data, you're not actually bothered by the individual lap. You actually just want to see a whole stint. And some data, obviously, you want to focus more on individual laps or a set of laps. If you right click on a task, you can then add an outing being effectively an IBT file. So add outing, and then this is where we have done our integration directly with iRacing. So we are not converting the data, we are reading the data natively. It's a bit of a selling point for us because if you dial into the detail of your data on something like VRS or i2, there's a high chance it's not as accurate as we all think it was. So even down to, we found quite a few instances where even the lap times didn't match, because obviously they are trying to convert the data. or in some instances even compress it. We are reading it natively, so we are as accurate as we can be directly from that data format. Rob, have I missed anything so far?
No, I think that's the key. I guess it's worth highlighting between the light and the plus license, in that the light license will allow you to import an IBT, so a historic data file as we term it in sort of professional motorsport world, and it's just a plus license that you need if you want the additional worksheets and you want to do the real-time analysis that we will demo later on in the call. It's worth noting that the tool was developed with engineers in mind, so there is keyboard shortcuts for everything. You can control everything through a keyboard shortcut rather than having to use the mouse. And in the F1 help of the installer, it will show you some of those key shortcuts to use. So, for example, if you want to load an outing, it's Control L. For example, if you want to replace an outing, it's Control R. So you can start, I guess, optimizing your workflow quite easily, just driving it directly from keyboard shortcuts rather than having to start clicking around with your mouse as well.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, if you go product support, this handy little shortcut sticker, you can print it out, stick it on your laptop. But that gives you everything that I think are the main shortcuts that people use. Okay, so yeah, I've right-clicked Add Outing. Obviously, I've got a folder that I've got here. It already preloads some of the data, which I can then scroll through and see. So you can make sure you're clicking on the right format. It would be nice if we had a bit more option here. It's something that we're looking at for the future, and this is just a window-derived box that we use. Let's load the outing. iRacing has fixed channel names, so the template will automatically populate, and the map will automatically populate based on the GPS data that the IBT file gives us. So once you're in, I can now scroll through all of these charts. You can see some of them didn't populate, and this is because it's linked to the other task. I can put this on the same task and it will load this lap. So along the top, I've got laps. It's automatically jumped to the fastest one, which was our pre-setting. If I did want this to be on all laps, I switch it back to the other task. It's as simple as adding another outing in here, and I can either add the same or a different outing, and then that will automatically load all of the laps in there for me.
Yeah, and on that, you can just Control C the outing above, and then Control V it into the one below as well, to ensure that you've loaded the same outing as well, and then you haven't accidentally done it, selected one wrong from the Windows Explorer. So a little shortcut there that you can do also.
Yeah. What it did actually, when you do that, just do it just on the lap you've got selected. So if you wanted, I just did it. You can do it either or.
Yeah, it's because you've copied it from a task that was selected on the fastest lap.
Yeah, yeah.
So.
So, and again, if I want to select the laps, I just went select all regions. You can choose, or you can click regions and actually pick which lap you want to. So, yeah, what we've got now is obviously a lot of data you can scroll through. There's some things in here which we've then created. So we're giving you, I guess, data on top of data by using PyMaths. We've exposed all of the maths as well. So a good example would be, actually, this is a good example straight away. So if I make this display large a second, wheel lock information isn't natively available. We are creating these channels based on what we call maths channels, and same for the counters. So how long have you locked the wheel for per lap? All of this is exposed intentionally, so you guys can effectively learn how to use it and learn how we've done it, or you can just use it straight away. It's all in here, so you can see wheel lock timer and the maths that we've created to effectively make that channel available for you to see. So I guess we're going beyond just giving you the data that iRacing gives you, and not in a way that it just presents it, but we're trying to build usable data on top of that as well. Yeah, obviously there I've made the display big, so if I want to see it larger, I can just click on it, it goes back again. And I can now pull through the data. What we've done is we've locked all of the displays. So this padlock and this padlock locks all of the displays together. If you untick it, this is now separate. And then same with the zoom. So if I zoom, so you can zoom in two ways. I can either press Z and it will zoom in. And again, all of the anything that's relative. So obviously this is on a different task. It didn't zoom. X, Y won't zoom, but the driver one has also zoomed. Backspace zooms out, or I can press Control and use my mouse scroller, my mouse wheel on top to zoom in and out. And then once you're zoomed in, you can either use the arrow keys at left and right, or the mouse wheel again to effectively scroll through the data. On a time distance chart like this, you can see the channels that we've got selected. You can click on the channel and the cursor will move, or you can use the cursor keys up and down effectively to move you up through those channel lists. You can also press F and it will flash. So if the graph is getting very busy, you can press F and it will flash that specific trace. What other ones are good? T will tile. So obviously here we've stacked throttle and brake, we've stacked RPM and gear. If you start to look at several laps at once and you're trying to compare several laps at once, it might start to get very busy. So you can just press T when you click on the graph, press T and it will tile them all out together. And the other thing that's a nice little shortcut is switching between distance and time if you wanted to for whatever reason. So, and it's just, and D gives you between distance and time. Selecting multiple laps because we've locked all of the charts again. So if I come back to here, you can now see I've got multiple laps selected. If I click back to the fastest lap, it scrolls back to the fastest lap. Rob, I think that's the basic covered. Is that fair?
Yeah, I think so. And just, I guess, following on from what Tom said, this is the template that we supply. Obviously, you can lock the zoom levels and whatnot that Tom mentioned, but this is customizable to what works for you guys. This is just the starting point that we've created with some engagement through some other guys in the, I guess, in the sim world and the real motorsport world as well. So if you want to go and change channel units, the channels that are displayed, remove displays, add displays, etc. This is all open. You can edit it as you like, and then just resave it as your own copy. This is a canvas that we've supplied, and then you can go off and tweak it to exactly how you like. So I guess Tom it's probably worth quickly showing how to
Yeah.
add channels or how to change the scaling, change the units, because again, we've got customers all over the world. Some will like to work in imperial, some will like to work in metric. So that can be changed, and then other unit definitions, I guess, for obviously for forces, accelerations, pressures, and whatnot outside of just the imperial and metric is available as well.
Yeah. So we've, I guess how best to do this. So we've got our chart here. So I've clicked in this chart, the driver input channels, as we called it. I was originally on the tasks pane here. I've now moved across to channels, and you can see in the bottom what channels are selected on the graph that I clicked on. Now, if I was to move across to say this one down here, if I click on that, you can now see that the channel list has changed. If I just come back to this one a second, let's say you wanted to add your rate directly onto the here. So you've got two ways of searching. You can either go through the channels yourself and actually pull the channels out, and we've tried to group the channels for you, or you can start typing in filter. What I did there was a Control Shift 8, which is effectively like we call it like a magic search. If I type your and then Control Shift 8 again, it should bring up all of the channel names. Interesting. I love a live demo when it goes well. Interesting. Oh, it's because the folder was closed down. It's definitely user error. So match channels is obviously my search. Apologies. So we've obviously got if you see this line here, it's a native channel from IBT. Anything that's a plus is obviously, I say obviously, it's a mash channel that we've created. So we've inverted the your channel in this instance to make sure it's turning in the direction you expect. If I double click, it's now added it to this time distance chart that I was in. So you can see now your rate is coming here, and it's giving me it as degrees per second. What I'll do for the sake of this exercise, I'll just tile that so we've got it broken out so you can see it's at the bottom. I can then choose to either move that channel up and down on that graph. If I wanted to change how that graph is in terms of color or units, you can either do move scroll across. You've got global channel properties, so this will change the channel property across the whole workbook, except where it's already been defined in a specific display, or I can change it in this display separately. I can change the color of it. So at the minute it's using the default color. I can say no. I can change it to green. And if I wanted to do something crazy, I can change it to revs per minute, which obviously you wouldn't normally do for your rate. But you can see then how you can change the units. Obviously, if you wanted to flick between, say, speed, actually, I will put that back. If you wanted to go to speed, if I just do a search in here to speed, click on there. Obviously, we're set at the minute to kilometers an hour. You can go to a different speed if you wanted to and change the unit that way. So that's channel properties as well. I guess the one thing we haven't done is just go through the aerial map we've got. So the aerial map, iRacing do a really, we take big images. There's some issues we've noticed with offset. It looks like it's a mixture of maybe iRacing's GPS offset and actually shifts in satellite photography. But in general, iRacing does a really nice job. Again, I've zoomed in just by scrolling the mouse, and you can either press play here or you can press play up here. So that's play down here or up in the selector. And when you do that, it actually scrolls through your data live, and you can make that faster or slower. So it's quite a nice feature you can use to actually play back. If we talk about reference laps, so with our lap selector, you can, if you click on a lap, it will change what lap you've got selected. You can click and drag and it will select multiple laps. If you want to do a comparison from either a different outing or the same outing, you need to add that outing again into the same task. So as Rob said earlier, I can control C and control V, and it just copies and pastes that outing straight in. I've got the fastest lap selected twice, so obviously you can see no delta. And now I'll select a different lap and I can start to see my deltas. Obviously this is currently tiled, this time distance. If I go back to untiled, you can see how it starts getting quite busy when you put a lot of channels on the same display. So as Rob said, if you wanted to remove some of these, you could. And then when you go to file, save as, you're effectively saving your workbook that you can then open up again. You can see we've got a lot of workbooks we've been working on for this. When you press play, it again plays through the data, so you can see here, I guess, is fairly basic driver data, but you can see how much I'm coasting a lap, when I'm accelerating, braking, changes in track temperature. I can zoom in on the map and see exactly differences on line in terms of where I was driving. So, you know, everything you'd expect from a data analysis tool. This is pretty cool. So we've got a normal lap delta and we've got a lap delta compare rate, so the rate in which the lap data is changing as well. And you can dial into this even further by starting to look at the differences between 2 points of the data using reference. So if let's have a little look in here, this data. I'm diving into what I said I wouldn't do, which is actually analysing my own data. But you see in the hairpin, I actually lost a bit of time. If we just zoom out on the map, see exactly where that was. So you can see the time gain went up. I can actually on here, on the, well, either of the charts actually, I can click on it, press R. You can now see I've entered a reference mode. I can zoom in to see exactly what went on. I can drag. So if you then wanted to see the difference between A and B in an area of the track, you're now getting the reference differences between those 2 points. You can also do that across multiple graphs as well. So you have to, God, I need to make sure I get this right now. But if you wanted to click on here, I can put this graph in reference. So if I press R, you can now see this has entered reference mode. If I click not on the graph itself, but above, so it's just in the window, press R, this has now entered reference mode. So both of these displays are now in reference mode, and I can now drag that and I can go up to say there and actually compare the differences between those two areas of the data itself. I guess at a top level, that's given everybody how to dive in, just where your time. What I will do real quickly, because I think it's great, here is where we start to do some cool stuff with pit stop and adding some information around there, and obviously how your accelerating performances are. So if I just jump back to here real quick. I'm just going to tidy this up a little bit. So I'm just going to switch that to a task. So it's on this task, the red task. I'm just going to remove some reference depth just so the graph's clear. I had a terrible pit stop here of 2 minutes 40 because I crossed the white line coming in, so I got a lovely 40-second penalty. But I selected multiple laps. This is where I see for endurance racing, there'll be a lot of information here you can take in terms of how much are you coasting per lap, where are you coasting per lap, how much fuel you're using, how much time on throttle are you using, and then you've got your pit stop analysis. So obviously you can start building, if you know how long you're going to go down pit lane for on average over a number of laps, and we pull this out on Bitfields as well, so we can say this is your total on-road timer and this is how long you stop in the box for. And obviously, yeah, I stopped in the box for a long time on this occasion because I took a lovely penalty. So yeah, it doesn't look like we've got any questions, and I'm well aware we're firing through this really quickly. Is there any questions, or shall we jump straight into the real time bit now?
We have some people typing, so let's see if there's a few questions.
Yep. Yeah, I must admit the data's really good. Like we got some heat sink when we stopped in the box as well. It was cool to see. Right here you can see some nice heat sink in the pit stop.
Okay, to Oliver's question, is it possible to create custom sectors and produce new optimal laps based on those? Yes. So, as Tom alluded to at the start, we will automatically create a map based on the data that iRacing provide us. You won't do it in the aerial map, but if you go into a worksheet or a display that has a standard map loaded, you can right click on the map and then go edit. And then you have the ability to define split beacons or split the sectors up, which will then add your custom splits into a split report as well. So yeah, it is possible to do that, no problem at all.
Yeah, then you can save that map and you effectively create your own library of custom maps and displays.
Yeah, so if you want to rename the corner names to what they should be, because we don't get that data unfortunately from iRacing, but if you want to go through rename, you see where we've obviously got 1-2. So should point out blues are straights, reds are corners, and obviously if it hasn't generated it perfectly based on the data we get, yeah, you can go in and edit them, rename the corners as you like, change the definition of the corners and the straights to match them up, and yeah, put the splits where you like as suggested, and then yeah, you can start creating your own library of maps as well. But we will always generate one to get you started. And then yeah, Tom, the other question from Adam was yeah, overlaying, doing a comparison in histograms. One thing that I don't think we did touch on, when you're doing a comparison task like we are here now, where you've got two different laps loaded in the same task, you will see there is a very faint like black and white checkered symbol on one of the tasks. So here you've obviously got your green task and your red task with the black and white checker on. The black and white checker signifies your datum, as we call it, so the outing that you're doing your reference from. So on the main driver display, you'll see on the driver worksheet, you'll see there's some channels that are updating based on the reference to the other outing. So with Tom, if you go down one display where you've got no value in 00 kph, here, you'll see that this is because it's set on the wrong datum. Yeah, so you can tell this essentially to look at the right channel here, and then it will start populating as well. So that's what, if you're ever wondering what that little black and white checker is for, it's what your datum is from.
Yeah, I'll switch the datum. Make datum. Yeah, the same goes for the lap delta. If the lap delta's effectively the wrong way round, it's normally the datum, or you can manage it with a task.
And then I guess for Adam's sake, if you want to jump back to the histogram,
So
you'll be able to see how it shows.
it's worth this is one of the changes. So working with some of the guys we know and iRacing directly, they have said that their data has some issues with damper channels. So yeah, as of hopefully tomorrow, maybe Thursday at the latest, we'll be pushing an update out where we are taking iRacing's advice and actually recalculating the damper histograms, not using the data from iRacing, but using some math channels that we will create in the background, thanks to what they've told us. So just again, making it a bit more accurate. It looks like they have some vehicle physics issues we will work around for the time being. Okay, should we go live? Real time stuff? I think so.
Give it a shot, can't we?
Okay. So real time. So obviously you've got the other tool that you need to download, which we touched on the website. So that is as simple as coming into it here and hitting download Toolbox telemetry converter. Once you've done that, you will get a little application like this. It's just loading. So you'll get an application like this, which again you'll normally run on your, or you have to run on your sim PC. You don't need to change any of the settings. You simply need to press start when you're ready. The PC which sends the data and the PC which receives data need to be on the same network. So this is normally just done by a VPN or being on the same Wi-Fi if you are in the same building by any chance. What we've tested, there's plenty of out there. We've tested Radmin VPN, so it's just a small application that puts two machines onto the same VPN. This is where we start introducing a little bit of security as well. So I've created a network already. It's very simple: network name, password, confirm password, and then you obviously share this information with whoever you want to join that network. And then to join a network, you just hit join a network, and I've joined the network. So I've got an MSUK one that I'm demoing here. This is actually one of our software engineers. And this is the sim rig which we've got in the office. So now I am directly connected to the sim rig. What I will actually do now is we will swap over Rob. If I just clear all this data out, so imagine you've met with a fresh workbook, I will go and jump on the sim and try and drive it with no audio. And Rob will show you how you add a real-time outing.
Yeah, we're just juggling the office. Apologies, gents. So, similar to adding dish your IBT file, we'll just work on one task at the minute. My recommendation would be that if you're connecting to multiple cars, put each car in its own task. That's traditionally how we do it in the real motorsport world. There is a small issue with our implementation at the minute if you're trying to put multiple real-time outings into the same task. It's quite a rare use case anyway, but that functionality is not currently supported, but we will work through that. So have a task per car if you're working in a team, let's call it, connected to multiple cars. You then, like adding a normal IBT outing, you right click and go down to add real-time outing, and you'll be met with this screen. As Tom showed in Radmin, that we actually set the server up as simrig. So what you can actually do, you can just write sim-rig like that, rather than actually having to put the IP address in. And the port is as per the tool is.
Yes, that's either the PC name or the IP address of the PC sending the data out.
And then click OK. And then you'll see the connection will become active. You'll get obviously the information that's pulled through here, and then yeah, Tom's actually on the sim now, and then the charts will start updating in real time as Tom drives. So don't be alarmed if you see some charts will not update in real time, because iRacing do not provide the data in real time, as we know, such as tyre data, for example. But all the channels that they do supply in real time will be updating, and that's the same with our maths channels as well. They will work in real time as well. And as you can see, yeah, obviously the trace is now updating as Tom goes. The track map is updating as Tom goes around. Our bit indicators for wheel lock, ABS, as such, again, will all update in real time as well. All your XY plots, your aerial map will as well. There is a small caveat in that iRacing do not spit out some of the GPS channels live that we use to create a map. So as a bit of a workflow thing, what we recommend is essentially drive a lap, get your IBT file off, load your historic IBT file into your workbook, which will then automatically generate the map, and then add your real-time outing afterwards, and then we'll then overlay on the map that has been generated by the IBT, because we don't get the channels to do it live. So you'll just need to do that workflow step first. Damp histograms, again, they will all update in real time as well, as you'd expect. So the majority of the channels you will see, and the displays updating. So yeah, really nice in an endurance environment, of course, to be able to essentially see all of this throughout the whole 24-hour period as well. There's a few things to note that we, at the minute, the implementation in our workbook, we're just using the standard time distance charts. You will see this is where you can obviously go through and edit the workbook yourself. There is a specific real-time outing chart as well that you can use, that works purely in a time domain, not a distance domain. And then you will see your lap splits updating on that real-time chart as well. And you can toggle pause that and skip back through your real-time data as well. So it's complete personal preference whether you want to do it in a standard time distance chart that we have in the workbook at the minute, or if you want to add a real-time chart. There's pros and cons to using either or as such. With the normal chart that we've got here, if you click a point in it at the minute, it's going to lock the cursor to that point in the data, whereas a real-time chart would resume back to where it was. So if you're using this chart, the recommendation is do not click on it in a real-time outing. You can, but obviously it's just going to lock the cursor to the data at that point, whereas yeah, real-time chart allows you to go forward. And
Do you want to add an outing? I've got an IBT file in that folder, Rob. If you add outing, there's a AMR Silverstone outing, just so you can see a datum against real time.
yeah, so it's right click, and then we just added that normal outing, which is the historic IBT file. And then you can see now how we are piping in the real-time data directly on top of it, so you can do your live comparison there as well, which is quite a nice feature to see live, where you're gaining and losing time. And that, again, that will populate across the complete workbook. You obviously do it on all your XY plots here for your sort of tire grip data. For the ones that are obviously available in live from iRacing. Again, same with the track map. So if you want to do your sort of brake throttle coast analysis to your reference fastest lap, so you could put your quali pole lap on there, for example, and then just reference to that across the whole race as well. So yeah, hopefully some useful tools there that will help you find some performance and yeah, add some more realism, I guess, to the event as well. Because I think with the marketing work that we've done at the minute, a lot of people don't realise that this is the real motorsport tool that we've added the iRacing integration to. It's not a tool that we've done specifically for iRacing per se. It is the real tool. It's used in F1 wind tunnel environments. It's used in WEC. It's used in IndyCar at every race. So yeah, you have got the tools that the professionals have at their fingertips. Engineering, yeah, the highest end of race cars out there today, which is quite nice for the realism.
I've just crashed. I don't know if you can see that.
Excellent.
The data not being drawn anymore.
Any questions on any of that, guys? If we want to, I guess, move into a little Q&A now. If there's anything that we've gone over too quickly or haven't been clear on yet, please shout in the chat and we can give you a little run through.
What I'll do as well is in the Discord channel, in this server, I'll just share some links to a couple of guys that have done some cool videos, just how to use the data, what's coming with it. It's quite good. You can't reset if you click on the time distance chart. So we are effectively misusing the time distance chart for how it was designed. Most people just use the real time chart. The there's two things with the real time chart. The first is well, actually the biggest reason why we didn't use it as a default is because you can't add a separate outing and do a compare, which I think is quite a nice feature for sim. Most people in wheeled motorsport will just use a real-time chart. We're looking at maybe implementing the merger of the two or creating a separate real-time template. So it will have some features from this template and then also some features which are more specific around real-time as well. But yeah, once you've clicked on that chart, there's no way to get the cursor to be live again. It's always fixed in the data. iRacing outing is if you have obviously make sure you've got telemetry on, which I think is Alt and L, I want to say is the iRacing shortcut. And then it's effectively every time you come back to the pits and get out of the car, it writes an IBT file. So a driver change in a endurance race is a IBT file.
Yeah, it's the outing terminology is a Pi sort of Cosworth legacy terminology. It's just when the car leaves, it goes out, it does its outing and comes back. So an outing, I guess, by definition in this use case is your collection of laps from that obviously stint that Tom mentioned. Yeah, in the reason why it's called outing is that we have customers, say for example in marine, where boats don't necessarily do laps, for example, which is why we have the outing terminology, because it's used across multiple industries. And I guess just looping back to Matt's question, I think Tom's audio was dropping out a bit. If mine is as well, please do shout. The reason we have that, I guess, use case issue is that if you want to do a live overlay to your reference lapping in real time, you have to use a time distance chart. If you're engineering an endurance race, what it's probably worth doing is duplicating this chart that we have here and having one as a traditional time distance chart that you can do your reference overlay on, and then insert another just real-time chart recorder, which then will just allow you to freely click around and toggle, obviously pausing and unpausing as well, and then you'll get the best of both worlds essentially. So just put another real-time chart in next to it would be my suggestion.
Yeah. I'll just if you haven't hit the max limit on number of displays in a worksheet, so obviously these are worksheets, each one of these is displays. It's simple as click on it, Control C, Control V, and you get an exact duplication. So if you, to Rob's point, we have a bug at the minute of adding multiple real-time outings to a single task. With this in mind, if you wanted to see all of your team's data coming through, or you wanted to scroll through data and have one running real time, you would create several of these and add more tasks, and you could then add more real-time outings to each individual task and just simply select. So change the color down here. Probably not to the same color, but you can see how you can now, if I click on the task, sorry, change the color. You can now see how you could start to build up different tasks, different outings. You've got that full flexibility. And then to Ross's question, Rob, jump in if my audio's shit. Excuse my French. It can be used simultaneously. So there's no impact on data coming out from iRacing. We don't go over the top of anyone. We just work alongside of the data being pulled.
Yeah, I think as not an iRacer, but I have seen a few comments on the forum that I think some of the other tools will override or move some of the files out of these folders that obviously that we use. So just check the settings on, yeah, say VRS for example, as well, to make sure it's obviously not overriding anything. But yeah, as Tom said, that we just pick up the IBT file that iRacing spits out. So as long as no other tool is obviously changing that and interrogating it, moving the folder that it's in, yeah, you'll have absolutely no problem.
These are two bad colors to compare. So just so everyone can see, I've clicking on the task. If you wanted to change the color, here's your I guess your information for whatever you've clicked on, whether it's the outing, it would be a real-time outing if it was that, or the task. Yeah, and you can just come down here and change the color to whatever you want to something that is actually comparable. No, the live data isn't stored on the PC. So we can export it via the real-time chart, which we're not using. The real-time chart, if you wanted to add it, it's as simple as going into display and insert, or this shortcut here, and you can see, obviously I've got an ultra license, so I've got everything. But the real-time chart recorder, you can export from that recorder, but you're still always best falling back onto the native IBT.
Yeah, it's worth. We can just drop it in. You'll see you will get the you'll get the lap markers on that, and then it will cache that data, so you can scroll back on that as well. So yeah, it doesn't. We don't formally log it in professional motorsport of our devices. We do log the telemetry stream. Yeah, maybe it's something we look at doing in the future if it would be useful. But yeah, that's probably the best way to do it at the minute. Use the real-time chart. You'll see your lap breaks go in there, and then yeah, you can hit P for pause on that chart, and then you can scroll back through. Either way, so that would be my suggestion there. So if something happened on a certain corner and you wanted to go back and see what's happened, yeah, hit P, and then you can go back through the data as well. I think Tom's just ran to the sim, but I'm now at the other side of the office, and you haven't added a channel, so you won't see it. But that would be my suggestion there. Yeah, Tom forgot to add a channel. He's just added one now. He's put throttle on, for example. I'm away from his PC, so I can't drive it now from the other side of the office, so our audio doesn't clash. But now this real-time chart, like we said, this will update. Hit P, and then you can scroll back through it as you like. Hit P again, and then it will take you back to where you are. So yeah, as mentioned earlier, if something happens in the race and you want to quickly go back and review it, this is cached, and then you can change how far back the chart views essentially by going into the properties of the chart. So you can set it at 10 second, 15, 20, 25, 30 second cached view, and then yeah, as said, you'll get your lap beacon markers that will come into here as well. So I guess it's using the different charts to your advantage and how you want to work. In the future, maybe we'll combine these two charts together, so you've got a little bit more functionality in one rather than having to work across two. But at the minute, yeah, that would be my suggestion, how it's used in a workflow perspective in the real world motorsport. hopefully that's answered the question in a bit of a roundabout way.
Never run between a laptop and a sim before. Okay, cool. I think the key thing for us is anyone's got any questions in the build up or even after the event. Obviously, I'm on Discord, Rob's on Discord. We're active in the iRacing support forum as well. So there's a Pi Toolbox area in there which we're responding to. So yeah, any questions, any suggestions as well. We have some more features coming in 2026 which aren't just sim specific. So new displays that are being generated which will drop into various different licenses. So yeah, I think we're open to hear back from the community as to what's needed where, because I think anything we do to benefit sim will also benefit real world engineering as well. Cool, awesome. Right, well, I think we'll call it a day if that's good with everyone, or have we got more questions coming? No, cool.
Yeah, like to say, we'll stay in the chat, and don't know if it's been shared. It is in the Cosworth portal when you sign up, but we did make a walkthrough video that's on our YouTube channel. It's around 5 minutes long that shows you how to set up, obviously that real time stream in fairly minute detail, with the VPN setup, etc. as well, with a walkthrough. So obviously, if we've blasted through some stuff too quickly today, yeah, we'll post a link to that video as well, which will give you some more sort of hints, tricks, tips. But yeah, we're in the Discord, so any questions, please shout, and yeah, we'll be happy to help.
Cool, awesome.
Right.
Thanks everyone.
Thank you, everybody. Best of luck for the weekend. Cheers. Bye.
Cheers. Bye, mate.